Hello, welcome to Journey to You with Todd Malloy, a space where we explore the inner work, intentional growth, and courageous honesty that leads to a life worth celebrating. I'm your host, Todd Malloy, and this podcast is a container for truth, wisdom, and personal authority. Here, we don't chase perfection, we honor the process. We honor becoming. Each episode, we sit with individuals who have confronted their stories, challenged limits, beliefs, and chosen to take ownership of their own lives on their terms. Because authenticity isn't a trait, it's a practice, and transformation doesn't happen by accident. It happens by intention. Our mission is simple: to offer conversation that acts as mirrors, inviting you to see yourself more clearly, release what no longer serves you, and step fully into your purpose. If you're ready to learn to live and live by lived experiences, if you're ready to grow intentionally, welcome. You're in the right place. Hey, hello, how are you? Thank you for joining us today. I have Markenson Joseph with us. And today I'm very happy to have him because even though he's a young man, journey doesn't start when at the end of your life. It can happen at any point of your life. Yeah. And now he's recently divorced, was married, 37 years old, IT professional. Yet, even though some would say you're having a level of success in life, there came a point where you had to honor and respect what was going on inside of you and begin a different journey. So when was that for you?
It actually happened during the pandemic. When everyone was unfortunately passing, we rest in peace to those who passed away. Those of us who were alive were facing a different battle. I think we were all facing our mortality. Mm-hmm. And I just wasn't sure of who I was anymore while being home with my kids and my wife 24/7. I had to transform into a different person, and I needed help.
Mm-hmm. What was that thing that told you you needed help?
The screaming kids every day, right? My wife at the time, she was depressed. My daughter was about a year and a half, 2 years old, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't have any family down here. I didn't have any help, and we had to survive. So, most men know hey, you just got to keep trucking along, but when you're home 24/7, you're not trucking anymore. Now you're sitting still, mm-hmm. making sure they're fed, making sure they're taken care of, making sure they're bathing, making sure they're being able to play outside. But she was just stuck in the bed, and I didn't know what to do. Mm-hmm. So at that point I said, well, is there something wrong with me? So I said, let me get some help.
So what was going on inside of you, feeling overwhelmed, watching what you couldn't control? What was that help you felt you needed?
It felt like an out-of-body experience. At some point you think you have control of your everyday life, and mm-hmm. The kids are going to daycare, you're going to work 5 days a week, you come home, you feed them, you may watch a movie or two, put them down to bed, and then you spend time with your wife. At that point, again, you're home 24/7, so you had to figure out how to make things work. And no matter how much I tried to communicate with her, we were hitting a stone wall, mm-hmm. and I didn't know what that stone wall was. So for me, it started to become an out-of-body experience where I was functioning every single day, but I'm seeing myself functioning and I'm not present. I wasn't present.
That had to be amazing within itself, looking at yourself in third person on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. It started it felt normal to me because I had done that when I was a kid too, through tough times growing up in Brooklyn.
Okay.
But doing it in this moment with kids, it was difficult to view myself in that standpoint of seeing myself in that standpoint, but I had to function. I had no choice.
So the safety mechanism you picked up as a kid in a different environment were the same things you were doing as an adult. Yep. With a totally different level of responsibility and duties.
Yep.
So therefore, using an old mindset in a new experience.
Yeah. And I knew it wasn't working because my wife wasn't getting better. The kids were just My kids were starting to get overweight because I was feeding them the same stuff every day. Pancakes and pizza. Pancakes and pizza kept us alive.
The quick food.
The quick foods. Because
Right.
I mean, I at that point I had to really like learn how to cook buckle down, because a lot of times my wife was the one cooking and I would help her, but it began to be just me. And not only that, you know, we had a dog at the time too, so I'm doing a lot of the stuff. It's not that she wasn't doing anything, it was just, it would take time for her to get out of bed, and it was like trying to start up a car that won't start in below freezing weather. It's like you got to do certain things to get it to work. It was like that, and it was so difficult.
So then you took the bull by the horns and you looked for yourself to be a part of the solution by finding resources, finding help. What did that help challenge you? How did it challenge you personally to either find the strength to endure or the clarity to make a healthy choice and decision?
The fear of losing my family. You know, again, during the pandemic, it's like you're seeing people dying on the news every single day. And the fear of losing my family said, I need help. My family can't help me because they're far away and they're stuck at home. My siblings couldn't help me. You know, I had no one down here besides church, and church was closed. So I said, what do I do? Like, where do I find the help? And I think I started like Googling therapists, and I found you online. I lived in Ballantyne at the time, so you were about 45 minutes to an hour away. So we started remote sessions. But I was looking all over. I was looking for every way possible to get some help for myself to be able to help my family. That's kind of, I had no confidence at that point. I started like, it was really bad. Yeah.
So here it is, you're an adult man, married with children, not having confidence. That doesn't seem like it fits.
It doesn't, because I thought I did. I thought I was a confident Black man in America who's college educated, private school education, working at a great job, right, financial management firm, and I'm second in command and doing everything that I possibly wanted to do. But the pandemic just made me realize that I was functioning off of tools that I previously created years ago in a time that needed me to change, and I didn't know how to.
So then now you just had to learn how to be relevant in your own life, is what I'm hearing.
Yep.
So what were the skills that you learned that helped you begin this shift, to change and feel empowered?
One of the first things was being present. I was never present, right? Mentally, I was never present.
So basically living life like a zombie, going through the motions?
I was going through the motions. I've gone through a lot, I think.
But how fair is that to you and the people you say you love?
It wasn't fair at all. It was not fair at all. Like my kids noticed it. You know, my wife at the time had noticed it, but they were in, you know, my wife was in her own world. And for me, it was like, I think at some point, the best way I could sum it up is I would tell her mentally, hey, like, when are you going to be done with this depression? It's my turn. I would say that to myself, like, when is she going to be done? It's my turn to be depressed so I could sit down and do nothing. But it was tough to have to deal with that.
Okay, so then what was that resilience? What was that strength you had to acquire in order to manage the choices, decisions you had to make going forward?
I think it was just tools that I had created in myself years ago.
But the new tools that were acquired, which ones?
Which was it? So the new tools that I acquired was being present. One was being present. Two was actually saying how I felt about certain things and not being scared to speak up.
So talk to me more about that. Here it is, you're, to your point, college educated, grown Black man doing whatever it is you want to do, but you're afraid at the same time to use your voice and speak your truth. That doesn't sound.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But in the time of being a millennial, there's just certain words that everyone's using nowadays, right? Like whenever you're speaking up, telling your feelings, everyone's calling you toxic, everyone's calling you weak, everyone's calling you sassy. They're using different terms just for speaking up on your feelings. So I would always just hide it.
Are you saying that we're at a point in society where you can't tell your truth?
You can't tell your truth. You're in a point in society where you can't tell your truth, where everyone is nagging you for being honest, for telling your feelings. Because in reality, honesty for men is just your feelings. Because we're living a life where we're doing everything we're supposed to do. But if we stop to say, hey, I'm tired. Whoa, you're tired, you're weak. Oh, you're hurt? You're weak. Oh man, like you need to stop, you're weak.
Yeah.
And everyone is just telling you, you're weak, you're weak, you're weak. And
So,
it just, yeah.
so you have to live that you're better than human.
Yeah, exactly, like you're superhuman.
Yeah, almost an impossible
It's impossible.
feat.
It's
Right.
impossible to be superhuman. Like, you try to live superhuman, you know, you have joint problems, knee problems, you're going to the doctor, you're stressed, you're tired. When I was burned out, I was in the doctor almost every other month, just from the fatigue, the burnout, you know? Stress creates cortisol, gain weight, then you're just sitting still and you're not doing anything. So I was no good to anyone. So I started to find my hobbies, find my voice. You know, I started coming to therapy. I started doing jiu-jitsu. I started to do things that I liked. Started to slow down and do things that made sense to me.
If you don't mind, I'd like to take a step back. What helped you give yourself permission? Because you could have always been doing these things.
Yeah.
What was the switch for you that allowed you to give yourself permission to honor what was going on inside of you?
Actually coming to therapy and finding and learning tools. I didn't have the tools previously. My old tools were bad tools. Coming to therapy actually helped me learn to live in my truth by being honest with the things that I needed for myself.
Right now in the
Right
present.
now in the present. And right now in the present, I just needed time to just sit down, to relax, to get rest, to sleep. Those little things have been helped me so much. And create boundaries. I never had boundaries. I never had boundaries. It was always yes to everyone.
Let me ask you a question with that. Oftentimes, there are many people that's challenged with that same example. You know, it's always saying yes, always being everything to everybody and nothing for yourself.
Yeah.
But in the midst of that, how hard was it to finally honor your own truth inside, for you to begin to build the boundaries? For example, everything we utilize comes with instructions. We don't have instructions, so the boundaries we use are the instructions of how not to destroy us.
Yeah.
But if it's hard to establish boundaries, or you're not taught to establish boundaries, how do you win?
So I was losing for years. I think it took about 3 years. I started coming to therapy between like 2020 and 2021. And I didn't really find myself in that honesty until about 2023. 2023, 2024.
What was the journey between 2020 and 2023? How challenging was it internally?
It was a lot of crying in my own space. A lot of sadness.
That's a big word.
It was a lot of crying in my own space. Not in public. Right? It was in my own private space. Just a lot of sadness.
I appreciate you being honest.
I'm being honest,
really
right?
do.
There's no footage out there of me crying, right? There's no proof. I'm just being honest. I was doing it in my own private space where I felt comfortable.
Amen.
I think only one session, I cried in one session. But there was some session I'd come to before that I would cry and get it out the way and then come into my sessions, right? Because I just, again, you have this thing in you where people are telling you can't be weak. So, crying in therapy or being sad it's wrong. It's wrong. And then just certain things I had to just let go. And when I let those go, I felt so much better.
What was it like finally giving yourself permission to say yes to yourself?
It was amazing. It was very transformative. I stopped seeing myself live and I started living. Right?
What did that do for you?
Made me so much happier.
Then how did it impact your wife and your children?
Well, unfortunately, my wife and I didn't work out. We got divorced. I was sad for a long time, but what it did was it actually made my wife begin to live. She started living more because when I said unfortunately, I created a world where I had no boundaries. So it made my wife and everyone around me happy. But once I started creating boundaries, they got miserable because I started living in my truth of, hey, unless my cup is full, I can't help you, right? And by doing that, telling people, hey, you only can get the excess of me. You can't get what I don't have. That's for me now.
Basically, the cup belongs to me, but the overflow I give to
I'll
other
give
people.
out. And what ended up happening was a lot of people in my life, cups were just as or even more empty than mine. So they were taking what I didn't have because they needed it, and they weren't holding themselves accountable. So now, because I started holding myself accountable, I said, I'm not giving you what I don't have. And all of a sudden now, relationships started to die slowly.
So what was that? First, I guess two questions really. The first one is, where did you learn just to be everything to everybody else and nothing to yourself?
I learned it from my parents, because
How
my
so?
parents are, I'm first generation American, my parents are Haitian, came from Haiti. And being first generation American, I learned that I was raised in a household as a Haitian child, but in the world I was raised by school, culture, hip hop, my classmates, right? And those two distinct worlds with two different things that I didn't even realize were different. But internally I was raised to treat people as, you had to be able to help people all the time. Outside, everyone was selfish. So I'm giving to everyone else because my parents taught me to help everyone, but no one's giving back. But I didn't learn from my parents that you gotta be able to keep for yourself.
Basically, if not, you'll bleed out.
If not, you'll bleed out. Because they were always that way, but I never saw them bleed out. But for me, it was like, I couldn't tell them, hey, I'm helping other people, but what do I do? Because they were always helping other people, and I never saw them complain. So it felt like, all right, I'm wrong. Maybe it's me.
As opposed to honoring your truth. It may have been right for your parents, but
Yeah.
it's not right for you because you're in a different situation.
I'm in a different situation. They came from another country. They were immigrants who came here. So they were not only helping us, taking care of us, helping family members, they were used to the hard work and the stress and what they had to deal with. They didn't have to really deal with American culture. My brother, my sister and I have an older brother and a younger sister, we had to deal with the American culture on our own and learn it on our own. We had no one to help us. And once I figured out it was two distinct worlds that I had to mold together, that's when I really started living in my truth of.
It's interesting that you said you had to figure it out together. I'm a firm believer nobody teaches us how to live. We're only taught to be students, professionals, law enforcement, military personnel. After that, you got parts, we got parts. Let's throw them together, hope for the best.
Yep.
So without intentionality, I don't know if we'll ever really find ourselves.
True.
So how did intention help you find yourself?
Intention helped me find myself because I think if you're not intentional, you're just going through life like it's the Matrix, right? I think everyone understands the Matrix. We all, every generation.
Everybody like
Everyone's
Keanu
connected.
Reeves.
Yeah, everyone likes them, right? Everyone is connected some way, somehow through their phones. And if you don't disconnect to see who you are, look in the mirror, you're gonna find yourself 10, 20 years down the line and not know where time went and not know who you are because you're just connected to that device. And that's even before devices were even a thing back in the early 2000s. So if you're not intentional about putting it down to see who you are, because I spent a lot of time looking in the mirror starting in like 2023, 2024. And that's when my cup started overflowing. I was like, why am I so tired? I started asking myself questions.
Okay.
Why am I so tired? What's happening with me?
And you dig.
How do I fix that?
And you begin to dig to
And
find
I began to dig. As I began to dig, that's where the tears started coming. That's where the stress started to disappear. That's where family started to me not connecting with my family as much. Me and my wife started to like really fall by the wayside. And it wasn't like I was trying to our relationship try to break apart. It was just, hey, I'm tired. I just need a break. Hey, I didn't realize how deep rooted my need to people please was.
Ooh, let's talk about that. With this journey and being intentional about it, establishing your boundaries, means that now people are being pruned off. I mean, people are falling off, relationships are shifting. And when I think about that, I think about how to your point, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who I was, so I'm going through the motions. And they bought that person.
Oh yeah.
They bought the giver, not the one that wanted to receive anything. Yeah. So now that you're showing up as a different person, now you really find out who your real friends are versus those people that benefited from just having you in their lives.
Yeah, very
Is
true.
that true?
That's true. They and I don't blame anyone. I didn't blame my ex. I didn't blame my kids, my brother, my sister, my family. I realized through the years I was blaming everyone for the issues I was having, right? Not realizing it wasn't them, it was me. I'm blaming everyone for not showing up when I'm not even showing up for myself.
How did you figure that out?
Again, through therapy. Like having those conversations, when you complain about the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, and someone's sitting in front of you who's objective, giving you objective perspective on your own life, at some point you have to wake up and say, okay, it can't be everyone else if someone who has no idea who you are is letting you know you're not even paying attention to your own life. Like you're not making yourself, like one thing you always say, you're not making yourself a factor in your own equation, right? Your own life. And I would hear that so much and I was just like, I am though. I would literally leave the session, yeah, I am, and then walk away. But it took so long because I was choosing not to. I was choosing not to look in the mirror.
Because of pre-programming? Because or what was causing you to make that choice?
The fear of the other side. The fear of the other side. The fear of the unknown. The fear of really going out there and choosing myself. Right? Because it sounds selfish when you choose yourself. But in reality, it's not that I'm being selfish. It's if you're burned out,
I'm being
who's
realistic.
going to help you? Yeah. Right. Being realistic. Once you become realistic, it sounds selfish, but it's not. It's how can you help your kids? How can you help your wife? How can you help your family if you don't choose yourself?
Right. No, I agree. I'm a firm believer in it's not selfish when you provide yourself what it is you need to provide for someone else.
Yeah.
Being selfish is neither good or bad. The motive of being selfish determines whether it's good or bad.
True. So true. And I chose to be the better version of myself, and that required me to let people be themselves without needing me. And by doing that, it really changed a lot of relationships. I have a whole lot more relationships now than I did before. Well, actually, it's actually even. I had a whole lot more relationships before previously, but the relationships I have now, everyone understands, hey, if Mark's there, he's there. If Mark's not there, he's not there.
So, in other words, I had people in my life that really didn't accept me before, but now as I established boundaries and those people that stood or came on board, actually are true friends that really accept me.
They accept me, friends and family.
Wow. Yeah. So it almost says, I first had to find me to accept me for everybody else to accept me.
Oh yeah, exactly that. And it feels great. It feels great. Like I even have I have conversations with uncles, aunts that I would never have conversation with years prior because I didn't know who I was. So I treated them as they were more important than who I was as a person. And I have real conversations with them. I tell them what's happening in my life and I tell them about themselves.
Right.
And they respect me. And we have conversations like this where I'm on the phone with them for hours. I never in my life would have thought I'd have conversations like this with family members. But then there's family members I can't even talk to. It's not that I don't want to talk to them, it's just they're one-track minded. They need help. And since I've gotten the help, I feel like where I am, they're just not there. And
we're just on a different energy level.
Yeah,
it doesn't make them good or bad, just we're different. We honor you, I honor me, we just do what we do.
Exactly. And I'm in a much happier place because of it.
So with the shifts and the pruning and the changing of relationships, what was going on with you?
A lot of loneliness. Like there was a point, there was like a 6 to 8 month point where I felt extremely lonely. I could say it lasted about 8 months. And during that time, I went to the shelter, got another dog. He was horrible, right? He was a terrible dog. I'm talking about aggressive pit bull, bully, muscles and everything. I should have never got him, right? He was sick. Let's say he used the bathroom like 4 or 5 times. Like I'd have to walk him like 3 or 4 times a day. He never used the bathroom in the house. He was great to the kids. But if I had him in a dog park, he's trying to get out, trying to attack other dogs. But those 8 months with him, like he helped me stay present because I had to take care. I had to. My other dog she was trained, so she would just watch me. But him, he forced me to be present because I had to take care of him because he was so. I felt like he was my spirit animal, right? The person that I used to be, the person that was begging for people to see me and take care of me. And I took care of him, I was training him, got him to a great point, got him healthy and things like that. And he really kept me present. Like, he kept me from going back to the way I used to be, because I saw myself in him.
No, but I think it was excellent that you found real life example
Yeah.
to see where how you used to show up,
Yeah.
but then working with it, creating an environment where you could work with it to really find you and accept you.
Yeah, yeah.
So in the midst of accepting yourself, you had to be in a spirit of time of process, time of alone in surgery.
Yeah, yeah.
To really work on you, to learn to like you. But then understanding that, hey, being on this side, I had to accept me to truly be accepted by everybody else. What was that like to recognize that what you were looking for, you had to give yourself? It wasn't something that someone else gives you, it's something you give yourself.
It was hard. It was a lot of, like, again, tears. Like, a lot of where you want to just hang out with your friends or call people, and you feeling like there's no one there for you, and how come no one's calling me? How come no one's checking on me? How come no one cares about me, right? It was a lot of those terrible questions. But then it got to a point, I don't know when it happened. It got to a point where it was like, no, I'm fine. I'm enjoying myself. I love the life that I'm creating. Like, I didn't stop, I didn't stop moving, but anytime I would be at home by myself, I'm so lonely. But I realized, no, I'm not lonely. I have all these people in my life who love me, care about me. I put hobbies in place for myself, and I basically put things in place to keep myself, basically like an addict to some extent, right? In order for you to remove yourself from an addiction, you have to remove all the things causing you to be addicted to a certain thing.
To intensely isolate yourself.
Yeah, so I removed those things previously, and then I was alone, detoxing off of being a people person. And in order to get away from that loneliness, I said I have to put good things in place. And I put those things in place so that if I ever felt lonely, I know where to go, I know what to do, I know who I can count on.
Basically remove the unhealthy things with something healthy.
With something healthy. And it made me so much better for that. Made me so much happier.
Where does spirituality and faith play a part in this for you?
It plays a big part. It plays a big part. I serve in my church every week. I made sure, I told myself, I think we only have two choices in life, good or bad, right? And that goes with everything you do. I had a choice to either go to the good thing or the bad thing, right? I could have been with the gang, I could have done terrible things with other terrible people, or I could have found a community that's doing great, that's being honest, that's living their lives, and they're broken as well. And that's what I did. I said, I'm going to go this route. I went to church. I said, church is something I've always had growing up. And in a lot of our brokenness, I felt I needed a community. I didn't want the wrong community. I could have went to, I could have went to terrible communities, but I said, no, I'm going to go this route because that's who I felt I was. I didn't want to change all of me. I felt like God was the only person that could help me. He's the one who kept me. And that community has been amazing to me.
So part of the loneliness that you experienced, and from a Bible perspective, the crushing of the oil is where the anointing comes from.
Yeah.
So that loneliness, that isolation created that crushing for you.
Yes. Yeah.
How did your faith, how did your own will and testimony keep you from faltering to those other areas you were telling me about?
I felt like God was trying to get me to come back to Him in a lot of the situations. I found myself treating other humans like they were God, that I needed them in order to be successful, right, in every area. And once I learned that, because in the loneliness, the reason I felt so lonely is because I was depending on people to fix my problems, right? And at some point, God was telling me, you need to forgive yourself, right, in order for me to forgive you.
Okay, help me understand that. Forgive yourself.
So I would forgive my inner child, right? To forgive that part of me that no one wanted, that no one wanted to help, that no one cared about, that felt that way. It wasn't a reality.
Right, the false perception.
The false perception, yeah, exactly. And I remember one day just standing in the mirror, right? And I gave myself 5 minutes, and I just thought about every single thing that I felt as a kid. And then I apologized to myself, and I said, I'll help, and I'm there for you. And I felt like God was there when that had, like when John the Baptist baptized Jesus, and then the angel came. Like, I felt that.
Amen.
I felt
Amen.
that, and it was crazy, because then that feeling of loneliness like disappeared. Like it was weird. It was weird. Now that I think about it, that's what it was. Like that. I looked in the mirror. It was so weird doing that.
Almost like you're saying, I confessed my sins,
Yeah.
my misbelief, my misinformation, surrendered it, gave it to God, and He accepted it.
Gave it to God, and I apologized. Like, I felt like I was apologizing to my child self in the mirror, but I could have been apologizing to God. I don't know, but I know for sure.
But forgiving,
that feeling was gone.
But that also goes back to forgiving yourself.
Yeah.
And hey, when I was a child, I thought as a child, but now that I'm a man, I can put those things away.
Yeah.
And now walk upright, irrespective of what was going on before, because I have a new understanding.
Exactly. And that was like an eye-opening moment for me. You know, I told myself, hey, I got you. I'm gonna take care of you. You're safe. And then those words to myself was just like a huge weight lifted off my shoulders.
Yeah, you use the word safe for a man of your demographic. That's a big word.
Oh yeah. Because most of the time we never feel safe. I'll be real. We never. It's like you walk outside, anything can happen. I grew up in East New York, Brooklyn, one of the top 3 worst areas to live in Brooklyn, right? And I made it out. I mean, I went to Catholic school, wearing green and yellow. We had a green and yellow uniform, so I was a target every single day in middle school. Then in high school, the uniform was doable. It was fine. It was like gray, black, and white. But still, I was in private school, so
right.
I was a target every day. So I grew up with my nervous system always ready to fight, always ready to get down when needed. Survival, complete survival. And these are things that my parents had no idea, right? Like, they had no idea about the gangs, about classmates with drugs, me seeing heroin, all that type of stuff. They had no idea. But we made it out, right? Like, I made it out. And coming down here, I was like, whoa, Carolina's is different. It's peaceful, but I'm not used to peace. I'm not used to the quietness, so it kind of messed with me a little bit. But yeah, I grew out of it. I grew out of that fear. I grew out of the nervous system just always being on go mode. And I just got happier.
Yeah, but it's almost like, well, that go mode was built in an environment I no longer live in.
Yeah, I no longer live there. So.
Right, so let me be relevant to the experience I'm having now.
Yep.
So with the journey you've taken, how do you feel about where you are now? To your point, you said your wife didn't make it, so now it's the initial journey now is transitioned to a new journey. So talk about that.
Well, I kind of told myself at that point, I tried to make it work, and there were just things that we just couldn't work out, that I just said, hey, this is just not gonna work out for us, right? She had left, and then with most people, you know, a lot of times when they leave, you're like, oh, come back. I was like, no, I think it's time, because we've been together since I was 19 years old. I'm 37 now, right? And I just said, I think it's time. She needs her space. She needs to grow on her own and find herself, because that's what she needs. I could easily say, no, stay, I'm turning into a new person. Or she was trying to say, hey, you know, I'm a new person too, we can make it where I was like, no, I don't think we can. I think you need your own journey, because I'm on my own journey as well. And it's been amazing. She's doing her thing, I'm doing my thing, and the kids are even happier. Before, the kids, we were just making it, right? Like, we were just making it by, right? But now the kids are happier. My he plays baseball, he's doing great in that. My daughter does cheer. A couple weeks ago, I was in Panama City, Florida, at a cheer competition for my daughter. I was the only dad, like, there with all those moms, right? That was weird, but I was there, right? And and then my son, baseball, I helped coach his baseball team. I'm not a real coach, but I'm like an assistant, because I don't know much about baseball. But I said I want to be there. I want to be present for him.
Amen.
But because of the changes, their mother and me, we're present. Like, whenever the kids are with us, we're present. The kids are enjoying themselves.
You know, I often share that people are focused on the traditional relationship, a two-parent household. But I'm always a bigger proponent of a healthy household, whether that's one parent, two parents, or a mixture of the both.
Yeah.
Because healthy is what they need to see displayed.
They do. They do. Because I didn't think my kids saw anything. I didn't think they noticed kind of how bad it was until like my son would just bring up certain moments. And I'm sitting there like, how did you know that? How do you remember this? How do you remember that situation? Because I remember one time my son told me, he was like, oh man, Dad, like, you know, we always doing stuff. I remember when you used to just sit in the chair and just fall asleep, you know, like when we were home. And I'm like, oh. Like, because that's when I used to be exhausted. I'm talking about
It's funny, you know, I felt the same way when my kids started telling me about my house.
Yeah.
But it's like, how did we not think that they can live in the house and not see everything that's going on?
I don't know. Like we literally think kids are just like little china pieces that you put in little china and just take them out. But they're real humans who have real minds.
Exactly.
So when my daughter and my son are telling me certain things, I'm like, how did you know that? But I'm like, no, he was there. Yeah. He was there. He was there.
Right. No, I always share with people.
Yeah.
Children already know where you hide your liquor, your weed, and all the other things.
Everything.
They know how often you have sex if you don't have sex.
Yeah.
No, I got a surprise like that one day sitting at the kitchen table. I was like, you know, how do you know?
My daughter's like, oh, is that your girlfriend? Is this your girlfriend? Is that everybody? Is that your girlfriend? Any woman? No, stop. Leave me alone. You're 7. Stop. I'm all about you guys.
Amen.
You don't need to know my business.
Again, keep it age appropriate.
Oh my goodness. And my son, he's, you know, he doesn't care much. He's all into his video games and stuff like that. But they see things. Like I could be having a conversation I was in a conversation with a dad in the dugout, and he started chiming in. I'm like, Aiden, you don't even understand what we're talking about. Mind your business. Now I had to tell him, mind your business. But he's enjoying being around me, right? And I'm like, I don't take that for granted. I don't take that for granted. Yeah.
Excellent. So, to sum up, were you worth your own investment?
100%. I think my life is tenfold better. It's tenfold better.
Even with the divorce, you saying that your children are in a better place. You know, and I'm sure people listening to this, watching this, may not understand that and believe that. Yeah. But them seeing you healthy and happy, seeing their mother happy and healthy, supports them being happy and healthy, even though you're doing it from different homes.
Yeah. I didn't believe in divorce before I got divorced. I didn't believe in it at all. I tried everything. We went through 3 couples therapists. I was in therapy. She was in therapy. I tried every avenue to make it work. I tried every single avenue to make it work. But when it didn't, it just didn't work. And but the thing I tell people who are married and they're going through things, I always tell them my side of the story of what I did wrong and what they can correct. You know, if I'm talking to a gentleman, I tell them, you know, there were things that I could have done better, right? Because at the end of the day, marriage is 2 people working together, and the one thing that I can honestly say that we don't account for is life changes, right? Your wife could have had a kid, or jobs lost, or parents lost, or, you know, having issues with other family members, you know, fallout with friends. Those things count towards your emotions when you're married, and it's difficult when both parties don't know how to handle it. And
correct.
Like I said, there's a lot of things I didn't handle well.
Yeah, but nobody teaches us how to do it.
Nobody teaches us. I would have loved to have still been married, but we were just better off not together anymore.
How did you reconcile that with your relationship with God and the church and all of these other things? Or did that matter for you?
It mattered for me. I asked God for forgiveness, and you know, I still go to church, and I know that, you know, through it all, that God he doesn't like divorce, but at the end of the day, he's not gonna forsake myself and her.
Right, and we always have to ask ourselves, does God honor truth or a lie?
He honors the truth.
Truth or a
100%.
picture. If the picture's not true.
If it's not true, it's not true, but he honors the truth. And at the end of the day, I want to live in my truth, and I want her to live in her truth. There was a lot of things where I think it was actually, we got divorced May of 2024. Next month will be a year. No, May of 2025. Next month will be a year. Like a month or 2 ago, I had texted her and I apologized to her for a lot of things. Like I said, hey, I'm sorry for whatever part I played in everything happening. Why? Because I'm whole now, right? I'm not 100% healed. It takes a long time. But I felt, hey, you know, I know what part I played in whatever part it was. And I'm apologizing to you because I want us to be whole for our children, right? I don't want you to think that I want issues moving forward with you. We're both humans at the end of the day. We had a relationship. doesn't mean we can't have one externally for the children, right? And that's the most important thing.
So in close, what would be in your journey, and to leave something of value for the listening audience, what is the one significant jewel you'd like to give them in regards to pursuing their journey and towing the line that it takes to get here?
The barbershop is not therapy. Therapy is therapy. And the other thing is, don't blame someone else for choosing not to choose yourself. Right.
Excellent, excellent. I appreciate that. I appreciate and applaud all of who you are. First, the strength that it took to even challenge your normal.
Yeah.
That wasn't truly your normal.
Yeah, wasn't.
And the strength that you had to get there. I applaud that even in the midst of your journey, you still see yourself accountable and responsible for the choices you've made before, during, and after.
Yeah.
So, hey, continue to be well and continue to pursue your journey. You're doing it well. Continue to live a life worth celebrating on your terms.
I appreciate that.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you for being here. Remember, transformation is not theory. It's lived, it's chosen, it's practiced. Take one truth from this conversation and apply it in your real life today. And if this episode expanded you, moved you, or spoke to your becoming, share it and follow the Journey to You podcast for more conversations rooted in authenticity, emotional authority, and intentional living. Because your evolution deserves to be witnessed. Until the next time, honor your truth and live a life worth celebrating. Bye for now and welcome. Talk to you soon.